again if you want to hang out and come in. Okay.
I think we might be a smaller group. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of just start, and then if people join us, then that's great. So, yeah. So this meditation tonight has to do with the 6th and 7th chakra, and what a chakra is basically in the Hindu belief, it's kind of our energy centers, and the 6th one is located. If you're like a Hindu woman, where they put the bindis when they get married on the
Yeah.
third eye, and then the 7th chakra is at the crown, and that has all to do with our connection to the divine, our intuition, our ability to be dreamers. And so, somebody with an unbalanced, like that are maybe unbalanced in those areas, might be considered flighty or having their heads in the clouds, and it can have sort of a negative connotation. But the idea behind doing this series of meditations and studying the chakras from the beginning is that it all starts with rooting down into the earth and being grounded. So if we balance the body and the heart and all of those things, then and we're centered, then our ability to then that opens up ability to become like a visionary, not somebody that's just their head in the clouds, but our Martin Luther Kings and our Black Elk, you know, really people that have faith in their vision and their beliefs. So I brought my eagle feather. In Native American beliefs, eagles are considered sacred because of all the raptors. They fly the highest, and they fly to the sun, and so the Native Americans believe that they could bring our prayers to God.
Hmm.
And this is actually, this is not a teaching. This is something I saw on YouTube, but I really liked it, and I teach peace lessons at the homestead when we're actually in school. I was teaching peace lessons, and everything's on Zoom. But this man held up his eagle feather. This is a golden eagle feather, and
That's
he was
beautiful.
saying that thank you. The quill here is, if you considered that sort of the divine or our lifeline, our connection to life. And then down here is when we're young and we're pure and innocent. And then as we get older, life happens, and our belief systems are made, and sometimes we have traumatic things happen, and we kind of fall away from ourselves, and we question our existence and things. And sometimes we might get involved in things that are harmful for ourselves, and we get a little tear, um or arguments with our families, or like maybe using my son as an example, getting kicked out of college, something like that might happen. Or divorce. I mean, life happens to all of us, and so these different experiences in our lives can feel like that we're kind of getting that these pains that are happening in our hearts and things that happen can end up having us feeling disconnected. But we can always return, and with the eagle feather, it's that simple. We just
Ah,
remember who we are, and it connects us back just like that.
nice.
Going back to the divine, going back to who we are, remembering who we are. So if you have a candle, you can light a candle. I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and smudge the circle, and if you have your own smudge, you're welcome to do that as well. Um, so very nice. So meditation is it can be a way to just carry a singular focus on our breathing, we're going to use the light for our meditation today. And almost all different spiritualities, there's the light is honored, whether
Mhm.
it's Catholic or Jewish or all of these different things. And many, many traditions and rituals and beliefs, light represents the divine. So I've been doing different prayer requests, but I kind of want us all to just um, pray in our own way and in our own hearts. And you can light your candle. And so in meditation, like in yoga, I would teach to focus on the inhalation and the exhalation of the breath. We mentioned mantras last week. It's just different, something to keep focused on so that all of that other stuff, the self judgment and the doubt and all of those things that try to filter into our brains, that we're trying to quiet that for long enough to just be still and to be quiet and just allow ourselves to be, and then to dream and to get in touch with what our visions really are. So you can put the candle in front of you, and so we're gonna begin to stare at the flame of the candle, and then you can start to think about um, your loved ones, maybe sending some friends. I do have a name of somebody that I would like to put on the altar. There's a beloved medicine man. He's junior. He's in the ICU right now, and he's traveled all over the world, helping people and praying for people, and he's very well loved. And so I just want to mention his name. And if you have somebody on your own end that you want to say out loud, you can. Um,
Okay. Ron, who's also in ICU,
okay. Yeah.
and
Thank
his
you.
son who's quarantined.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
pray
you
for
for
them.
that. And so looking into the light and just kind of finding some stillness here for a minute. We're gonna keep staring at the flame. And then you might have to hold the flame a little bit closer, and then just try, just as a fun thing to try out. You're gonna stare at the flame and then close your eyes for just a moment and see if you can see the flame kind of in your mind's eye. And if you can't see anything, that's okay. I'm not getting anything yet, so I'm going to open my eyes and I'm going to look at the flame a little bit longer. And while we're doing this practice, you can just, when you're ready, you don't have to follow me, but I'm going to close my eyes again until I see it. So I can very faintly see a little flame in my mind's eye, but it kind of keeps floating off to the side when I close my eyes. So I'm going to open it. I'm going to look at the flame a little bit longer. So just keep going with that practice. And there's no right or wrong. So while you can keep doing that, if you're able to sort of listen at the same time, or if that's too distracting and you have time later, just to try that as a meditation, just to look at the flame and see if you can kind of find it in your mind's eye. It's just a very quick, easy example. Oh, sorry. I had my eyes closed and somebody's trying to get in. Jenna, hi, sorry. I was just doing this thing with had my eyes closed, so I didn't see you were waiting. So I hope you weren't waiting too long. But there's if you have a candle, Jenna, I don't know if you can see us, but you can go ahead and light your candle. And I was just giving an example of a way to practice meditation by looking at a candle flame for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then closing your eyes and seeing if you can see it in your mind. Um, so I just lost my thought again. Yeah, I know what I wanted to say was that I was just thinking about, so I mentioned Black Elk, you may have heard of the book Black Elk Speaks. And he had a vision at a very young age. Um, and his elders and the people around him believed that it was something important, and believed in his vision and supported him. And um, I just wonder what a world would be like, what our world would be like if we could really be patient with children, and really hear what they have to say. And like, if we were all raised in a way where our words and our thoughts and our daydreams kind of mattered more. And like in the Aboriginal tribes, the dream world is really sacred. And I think it's not necessarily something that is nurtured in our culture, our dreams and you know, our our imaginations. And so in this quarantine, we've all had to slow down a little bit. And um, I think it's a good time to kind of dream a little bit about the world that we want to live in. And make that bring that back to sacred. And sometimes we can, like, if you wake up, you can do your like, maybe have a little dream journal, and see what shows up. So the journeying that we've been doing, this, it's kind of considered shamanic journeying with the drum. That's sort of it's similar to going into the dream world, but we're conscious. The meditation I'm going to do today, I'm not going to use my drum. I'm just going to kind of lead you into it. And I'm going to go ahead and start pretty soon, but I wanted to offer you one more teaching of, it's from yoga, of a breath. And you don't have to do it. You can just watch, like, all of the things that I'm suggesting, and all of these are just like little examples of things that may or may not work, like, just like anything, you can take everything for a grain of salt. And if it's something that you like, you can adopt it. And if not, then you don't have to worry about it. But pranayama is, it's a pretty important aspect of yoga. And nadi sudi is, it's alternate nostril breathing. And so the idea behind this particular practice is that it helps you to balance your left and right hemispheres of your brain. So um, I'll just show you how to do it. You can join, or you can just kind of watch. But it kind of helps us to go within. And so I wanted to do this before we do our meditation, before I lead you into the meditation, so that we can have a deeper experience. So the idea of Nadi Sudi is you would make a thumb and release your last two fingers. And then you close off your right nostril with your thumb. You exhale out of your left nostril. You inhale, and then you close off your left nostril, and then you exhale out of your right. So it's exhale, inhale, switch, exhale, inhale, switch. And I'm going to just do a few rounds with you. Sometimes it gets the sinuses going. You have to blow your nose, and that's okay if it's actually helping to clear all that out. So take your time, but when you next exhale out of your right nostril to complete the cycle, then you can bring your breathing back to normal. And you might feel a sense of calm already just from that, 45 seconds that breathing does. And that's a really good one for insomnia. If you can't sleep, Nadi Sudhi is supposed to help that. So I'm just gonna kind of lead you in a longer meditation without the drum. It's gonna go slow and gonna go deep, and we're gonna go ahead and start. So you can get comfortable. You can do the seated meditation with the feet grounded, or you can lay down if that's your preference. It is a little bit, I'm going to take a little more time with the meditation today, so I would just do whatever position you feel comfortable laying in for a while. Depending on how it goes, I might just do a little reading at the end, and I might just go ahead and end the meeting, and you can stay in your meditation and then maybe do some journaling afterwards. I would suggest after this meditation, because we're kind of calling in, our relationship to the light, that to look at the night sky, but it's going to be raining. So if you have some time this week, really take some time at night this week and just look at the stars and feel that connection to the light that way, because there's nothing more beautiful, really. So for this meditation, you can begin to focus in on your breathing again. As you inhale and exhale, allow the body to begin to relax deeply. Again, inhaling and exhaling, allowing the body to feel a little bit weighted and relaxed. And just like the inhalation and the exhalation of your breathing, the universe itself expands and contracts. So you can imagine everything in your body for a moment just contracting, and even maybe squeezing in your hands into fists, squeezing the muscles along your arms, squeezing the muscles along your legs, maybe even flexing your feet. Squeeze, 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 and then just relax and go back into that state of expansion. Feel your body become weightless, almost as if you're floating on a cloud. So whether you're sitting or whether you're laying down, you have this cloud of light protecting you from the very crown of your head down all the way through your arms and your legs down to your feet. So knowing that your body is protected and safe, you can go inward using your imagination, using your vision. And we're going to start with the soles of the feet. If you'd like to imagine a beautiful red color, the chakra to do with the soles of the feet, Muladhara, is red. But if something else comes in, if it's white or golden light, go with what works for you. And then pulling that in through the soles of the feet, we're going to begin to relax the feet, the toes, the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thighs. And then we're going to take a moment to think about from the very first time our mother or our father set us down and we felt the earth underneath our little tiny feet. Maybe it was grass, maybe we were barefoot, or maybe it was the cold kitchen floor, whatever it was. Every single footstep that you have taken since that very first one has led you to who you are today in this moment right now. All the beauty that you've been able to see in your life, the sunsets, the sunrises, our legs have given us the mobility to walk on the earth, travel, and see the beauty around us. So calling in that light, feeling the light, going into each and every entire cell through your legs to heal any blockages there. Allowing the light to heal each and every single cell. And then the red light can turn into a beautiful orange, or again, it can still be white or golden, kind of swirling around and working its way up through the legs, through our hip area. Taking some time there, again, to heal the reproductive organs, to heal the hips and the joints there. Pulling up to heal the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, the spine. So this healing light, this light of the divine that's moving up through the soles of the feet, up through the legs and the hip area, is going all the way into the bones. All the way into the bones. And we can invite the divine to work through us all the way to the bone level. Coming to the mid back and then working around through the stomach and the digestive system. The light might be turning into a yellow, into that center of our chi and the fire, kindling that flame again. And then moving its way up through the rib cage, into the lungs, to heal the lungs. Maybe the light begins to turn green, taking some time to heal the heart. I'm going to take a moment to really allow that light, the healing light, to reside in our hearts. Again, clearing any literal blockages there so that the blood is circulating in the most easeful, healthy manner, that the blood is pumping the way it should out of that organ throughout our body, down through the arms, down through the legs, up through the head. Taking a moment to have some gratitude for that organ. Again, from that very, very first heartbeat in utero, all the heartbeats that have happened in your lifetime, all the heartbeats that you have left. Thank you, Creator. And then again, having this light continue out through the arms, down through the shoulders, through the biceps, through the elbows, through the forearms, the wrist, down through your palms, your fingertips. Taking a moment here to have some gratitude for all of the things, all of the touching, the lovemaking, the food that you've eaten and created and brought to your mouth through your fingertips. the gardens, the flowers you've put into the earth and watched grow, the dancing, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it that's happened throughout, connecting from your heart out through your arms, taking a moment to have some gratitude for that. And then we're going to allow that light to kind of, maybe it's going from green to a turquoise or beautiful blue color up through the throat, to relax and heal the throat chakra, the house of our expression. And again, this light has the capability to clear blockages, so that moving forward out of this meditation, we can express ourselves with integrity, with kindness, and honesty. And then the light continues up through the throat into the head. And it may turn into a sort of indigo or violet color. And it's really clearing the blockages of our senses. And it's reminding us that we're the ones in control of ourselves, meaning we get to choose the medicines and the foods that we put into our mouths. We get to choose the things that we read, the things that we listen to. And sometimes maybe we're in an environment where there's something that we're not comfortable with hearing or not comfortable with seeing, and most of the time we do have a choice to leave and to walk away from those things. And moving forward again out of this meditation, out of this night, remember that everything that we take in through our eyes and our nose and our mouth and our ears, into our minds, into our hearts, is our choice. And so this light is healing all of the damaging things that we've seen and heard, and the wounds that have happened since that time that we came to the earth until this moment right now. The things that we brought into our senses that we forgot that we were in control of. And then the violet light turns into a beautiful white light. And you can feel it as a divine current coming down through the cosmos into your aura, down through your body. And it's a reminder that we have unlimited access to the source of all life at all times. The light, the candlelight, the flame that we were looking at is a small reminder of that source. And so opening up through the crown of the head to keep that connection to the divine, and however you see it, however you feel it, however you communicate to God. Ooh. Hi, welcome, Annie. I'm just doing a meditation, so I'm just going to keep going, but you're welcome to join. So allowing that light again to come down through the crown of the head, We're just going to go back down through the body to scan. So if there's any little pockets, hidden pockets of fear, or, maybe we can let go of a little wound today, little trauma, allowing that light to go down through the crown of the head, back down through the throat, back down through the heart center, the lungs, the stomach, the hips, all the way down through the legs, down through the feet. So that divine current of light that we started to pull up through the soles of the feet, through the earth, all the way up through the body, through the crown of the head, is actually going both ways now. Pulling up the love from the Mother Earth and Father Sky, the cosmos, allowing ourselves to be at the center of that connection so that our visions can be empowered, so that we can dream the new world that we really want to live in. What reality can we give birth to out of this whole crisis? So now that our bodies have allowed to invite this divine healing light to work with them through this meditation, they're going to keep working and going deeper and deeper into our system. And I'm not going to use the drum, but I would like to allow you to really invite in the healing energy of that golden eagle feather that I was holding, that I am going to hold right now. And I'm going to pick up and hold and kind of hold this as a prayer tool, that through this meditation that we can get some healing. And you can imagine yourself maybe in the most beautiful place on earth that is real, that you've been to, that you know it's like a power spot on earth, or in your imagination. And allow your body to be transported there. And then once there, you are greeted by Grandfather Eagle. The spirit of the eagle is with you, next to you. And this beautiful eagle invites you to climb upon his back. And so you do, allowing you to experience what it's like to have true freedom. So you climb upon his back and he takes off and he flies up to the Sky Nation. And in the Sky Nation, the eagle is a protector, and he sits upon a council of other elders. And you're privy to this conversation. And these elders are in circle in the Sky Nation, and they're talking about what's happening on Earth right now. How can they be of service? How can they, as our spiritual guardians, messengers of the divine, how can they help us? And so in most of these meditations, it's always been about us finding our medicine, finding, the amulets, finding that little nugget that's going to help us, that plant ally, that gemstone, the medicine from the animals. But now it's our turn to give something back, even in our meditation. So, sitting on that council of elders, you yourself are invited into that circle and really consider, and maybe the answer is not going to come to you right now, but really consider if that question is being asked of you as well. What is it that I have to give? How may I be of service? So the elders look to you and they say thank you for your presence. Sitting back upon the eagle's back just decides to take you to see the world from his perspective, to feel the air, to feel the sunshine. And it's so majestic, so beautiful. Sometimes from our very limited perspectives at home or wherever we are, when we get stuck in our thoughts or we get stuck in a conversation that goes round and round in our head that we can't get out of, and we lose that eagle eye view of the bigger picture of what a blessed, blessed, beautiful planet we are so lucky and so fortunate to get to live on. So he's taking us for a joyride to remind us to keep that big, broad vision. What would it be like if we had the freedom to really choose and create all the sounds that we wanted to take into our ears? To participate in all the fragrances that we're gonna smell into our nose, and participate mindfully in all the taste that we take into our mouths. And the water, really remembering when we drink the water to feel the spirit of that water purifying us and just not taking it for granted. What would our lives be like if we could come back into remembrance and awareness of the elements and the beauty that they have, the gifts that they are? And we're each on our own path. We're each kind of on this different part of the eagle plume, whether we're still, evolving down near the bottom and working our way up, and that's okay too. And so the eagle brings you back into your body, places you carefully down on the ground, and then flaps his majestic wings over you. You're allowed to feel that healing wind of his feathers, of his wings. And when you are outside and you can feel the breeze picking up, you can remember that great eagle medicine, fanning you off with the spirit of the divine. And then we're going to take a moment to go back into the light of our interior landscape and allow that light, allow yourself to feel the light coming out through your heart. And we're going to remember we didn't really do a prayer, but we can do this now together in our hearts and really consider and think about all of those people that are putting their lives on the line to help one another. And sending them our gratitude. Maybe somewhere when we send out that, when we can feel our own light and send it out, send out that shanti, send out the light to another, maybe it can reach them, maybe it's worth trying. Maybe together, like ancient civilizations, they say this Lemuria, I believe, the civilization. It might be mythological, but there's a belief that ancient people sometimes had these dreaming rooms where they would all sleep in one room and they would put their heads together so that they could dream about the world that they wanted to live in. And so, in our meditation, if we can put all of our focus into that flame, into one thought, and reach, even one child, maybe that might be afraid right now or scared or lonely, and circling up and sending our love to those children, sending our love and our peace and our light to incarcerated people. There's so many people that are in prison right now that are in prison because of something that is now legal, you know. So sending our love, no matter what the reason, doesn't matter. Just sending our love and our light to those people that are in prison. And then even the ones that aren't incarcerated in real prisons, but that have that feeling in their homes. That we can actually be the prayer right now by just taking the time out of our day, out of our Sunday, to think about these people and to remember them. And all the ones that have passed on, and the ones that we've lost, whether to the virus that's happening now or in our past, in our lifetimes, that are now, we hope, looking over us with that eagle eye. We can also send our love and our honoring to them. And then in the I'm gonna kind of imagine an archer holding his bow and arrow. And we can take the prayer even into the future. Maybe in your imagination, you have the prayer of the world that we want to envision. We might not yet know what it is we have to give and how it is we can help, but that question has been posed to the universe, and so the answer is going to reach us at some point. So, as the archer, putting that prayer onto your arrow, maybe you can even light it on fire, or can have a little light on the tip. And you can imagine yourself and see yourself pulling back, holding that arrow perfectly straight, letting it go into the future, bringing your vision forward, bringing that love and shanti and the peace that we're trying to create for the world forward. Because as scary as it is, some of the news that we hear about what's happening to our planet, there's just as much good news too. There's a lot of healing of waters, sacred waters flowing freely again. Air quality, being able to see miles and miles away in areas that, it was just pollution before. And so we have to take the time to remember to have gratitude for the wins and not allow ourselves to get too bogged down by the losses, because when that happens, it's hard to be of service, when we're carrying that much weight around. So just like the archer shooting its arrow into the future, you can also see yourself, just putting down some of the weight, some of the burden, however you envision that. The financial stresses, the fear of job security, all of those things are maybe real, and they're all things that we have to be practical, and we have to, it's not about being in vision, isn't about ignoring reality and the problems that we have. It's about finding resolution, finding ways to fix those problems, to be innovative, and sometimes we have to first feel those things and honor our grief. And it's not that we're trying to deny anything, those negative things that are happening. It's just that we don't want to get stuck there. We don't want to get so bogged down that we cannot move or act upon our prayers and our visions. So see yourself, allow yourself in your meditation. Maybe even just that a boulder can be a real boulder that we're pulling out of our heart, that gook or goo or slime, and just finding a hole in the earth and allowing ourselves to bury that in there. And then allowing the mother, who is endlessly compassionate, to take all that pain and that weight and lift it up for us, turn it into something good, grow some flowers or tree there, and just remind us. She reminds us that sometimes those pains and that weight and that suffering, again, it's happened to us because life happens. But what's important is to find out what the teaching is. How can we take those pains and those sufferings and that weight and turn it into helping somebody else that's experiencing that, and feel lighter that way? So the idea of the meditations of going inward into the chakras, as I was saying, starting with grounding down, being in our bodies, is so that the power that we have to create comes from clarity. And so I'm going to read a prayer from Pixie Lighthorse, and you can stay in your meditation. You can keep your eyes closed if you'd like. Um, so this is for all of you, and this is how I feel too about each and every one of you. Um, you are magnificent. I will tell you so that you are clear. You are sacred. You are beautiful. You are magnificent. You may need to make amends to another in order to feel strong about forgiving yourself for what you are holding on to. You may need to listen. Do what you must do. Clear the path for a new way of being. Stay in recovery. Call in the brass to help you with your health. Establish daily habits of exquisite self care. They can be as simple as smiling at yourself and anyone you pass. Think of boundaries as the sensation of having a golden bubble around the body. It is filled with your own radiant light. Vitality comes from life force, which is, quite simply, the frequency of the miracle of life. It is truly almost beyond comprehension that we exist in the way we do, with bodies that sense, hands that can give healing, language that can move our emotions, voices that carry sound, mouths to chew, wombs that gestate, and minds that create. We forget where we came from, how miraculous life is, and how it is growing and vibing around us constantly. It is your responsibility to step into your humble, courageous magnificence. We begin as impressive, exceptionally fine miracles, but we are taught to forget our miraculous nature. We are warned of the terrible danger of becoming self centered and spoiled. We are told we're too big for our britches when we begin to show our strengths in early, undeveloped ways. The high price of these worn out ethics is that we do not value ourselves as miracles. We will not value others as miracles either. When we know our magnificence and miraculousness, we can know others to be exactly the same. Everyone is splendorous. When a person acts from that place of radiant beauty, they stand out. The golden bubble is almost visible around them. When you step into what is golden about you, the essence of who you were before you were born, you will recognize it in others too. Vitality hums throughout a body that recognize magnificence. That's Pixie Lighthorse. So just taking a moment to feel that you are sacred. You are magnificent. And the thing about that light, that healing light that we use to aid and utilize in our meditation, that is always accessible to us. You know, it's innate, innate in our being. The divine light, we all have it. Sometimes we just forget, we forget how to access it. But whether it's lighting a candle or, sitting in the sun, presencing ourselves again to the divine light, it's just there, right at our fingertips. And so we can think about how, just like in that thing that I just read, it's when we can find our own light inside and feel that joy and that appreciation for the beauty of our creation around us and the world that we live in. And then that can bring us joy, and then our light shines, it's contagious. It spreads. The light spreads to one another, just like a smile. And again, it's not to say sometimes we have to really go into dark places to discover the light. It's a part of being alive. But just that reminder again to just try not to get stuck, to bring in that flame, to bring in all the tools that you have within you. So this 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 hour was a little bit different than the last. I just kind of did a little talking and not so much of the drumming, and I'm gonna go back to all of that. Not next Wednesday. I'm gonna take off, but again, starting Sunday, we'll start with some tools with working with the earth, and then just going to repeat the meditations as long as this sort of quarantine lasts. I want to commit to creating this space and being available to, just put aside some time for ourselves. And it's really important right now. And if we can just, find something good from taking this hour out of our day, and then that makes me really happy. So I'm going to actually just allow you guys to come out on your own, and if you want to journal, or maybe sit with your candle a little bit longer and try to just look at the light, because we didn't spend a lot. It takes some time, and it helps to kind of turn off the exterior lights around you to do that meditation, looking at the candle flame, and then trying to see it in your mind's eye. I've found that with meditating, I studied Buddhism for a long time, but all the sitting, I just can't do it. I have to have something to do. So, like mowing the lawn, or doing yoga, or staring at a candle, if as long as it's active for me, I can focus for a lot longer. I have a little bit of ADD, so I think just the sitting and like breathing is a little hard for me. So the candle one is just a suggestion. But I just going to take a moment to honor each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and honor the divine light, and hope to see you again soon. Oh, okay. I'll